welcome back, sir. This is
good to be with you.
Good to be with you. Quite a finding. Does this surprise you?
Yeah.
Have your committee been onto this stuff?
Yeah, because no, it doesn't surprise me because remember, Greg, this is the Southern Poverty Law Center was cited in that now famous memorandum that the FBI Richmond field office put together when it said if you're a pro-life Catholic, you're an extremist, you're one of these radical right-wing people. They were citing the Southern Poverty Law Center because they set them, you talked about this earlier, they set themselves up as the standard. Oh, they will determine who's a good group and who isn't. Remember they called the Family Research Group, Family Research Council, they called them a hate group. They said that Moms for Liberty were an extremist group, as if moms fighting for their kids' school choice and everything else are somehow an extremist group. So they set themselves up as a standard, and now we find out that instead of fighting hate groups, they were actually paying and promoting those crazy organizations. This is how bad they are. And of course, you pointed out what took place in Charlottesville, where they were paying people to go there. And of course, someone lost their life there. So this is how serious this is. So it's great to see Todd Blanche and the Justice Department going after these folks.
It's interesting also. I mean, like, white supremacy is terrible, but there aren't really many white supremacists in America. So they were fomenting it. They wanted, it's like one of those pyromaniacs. It's always, you know, setting fires and then calling the fire department. I feel like it's,
yep.
And what's next?
Exactly right. It was a big scam. We're gonna gin this all up, all this crazy stuff, and then we're gonna talk about how we need more of your money to combat it. They were also the group that the Biden Justice Department was having prosecutors trained by people from Southern Poverty Law Center. Remember Chris Wray, every time he'd come testify in front of our committee, would talk about the white extremism out there, these groups out there. I mean, that was just ridiculous, and it was all just driven by this Southern Poverty Law Center. I always say that the left has a template. The left has a template. You see it play out time and time again. The left will tell a lie. Mainstream media will report the lie. You gave a bunch of those clips. Big tech will amplify the lie, and then when you tell the truth, they call you a racist. I mean, it happens all the time, and we saw it play out with the group that's supposed to be fighting racism, for goodness sake, when they were actually paying people and promoting it.
Now, we got to play this. It's from the CEO. He's the interim president of the Southern Poverty Law Center. His name is Brian Fair. Let's play C04, if you don't mind.
We are therefore unsurprised to be the latest organization targeted by this administration. They have made no secret of who they want to protect and who they want to destroy. Today, the federal government has been weaponized to dismantle the rights of our nation's most vulnerable people, and any organization like ours that tries to stand in the breach. We will not be intimidated into silence or contrition, and we will not abandon our mission. We will vigorously defend ourselves, our staff, and our work.
I wonder, are these guys, look, I do believe, maybe you heard earlier, some people actually believe that about the Trump administration. They have been lied to and they believe the lies. And some people like him, they have the evidence, they know what they did, and they're guilty and they're lying anyway. That's my view of things. But I do feel a little bit, some people, you know, they've been fed lies and they believe the lies.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's how the left operates. As I said, they'll tell you a lie. And if you disagree with it, they'll call you names. That's just how they work. Here's the question I have, and you touched on this earlier. So we know there were 26 confidential human sources at the Capitol on January 6th. 17 entered restricted space, 4 went in the Capitol. None of them were charged with a crime. Some of them were paid by the FBI. I want to know if the people the FBI were paying then, if any of them were also being paid by the Southern Poverty Law Center. Were these informants, were these sources, were they being paid by the Southern Poverty Law Center and the government? I'd like to know that because we know that the Biden administration, their Justice Department, was working with the Southern Poverty Law Center to come in and train prosecutors, help prosecutors recognize extremism, whatever. So I think that's a fair question, and we're digging into that. I mean, we've been looking at this for a long time, and here's the one thing, I always point this out. The only thing we ever get wrong when we start these investigations, the only thing we ever get wrong is it's always worse than we thought. It is always worse. When we get in and get the facts, it always turns out to be worse than we thought. And now we see, here's what they were up to, fomenting this, doing this, and paying informants $3 million. It said that they were paying out to these guys to foment hate instead of trying to combat it.
Amazing. Well, Congressman Jim Jordan, these are wild times. Thank you very much for joining us again.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.